Hi everyone, Julian from BradyRepairs back with a new angle and a new repair. I have a new tripod, so we're testing that out on what I assume to be a quick little repair. So in this bubble wrap, I have a Joy-Con that one of my really good friends sent me that I actually had sent him originally. It just got a little knackered up in the mail. Let's crap off of here. I guess that's the word for it. The button here, it broke off the board, and so I need to take it apart and pop a new one on there, but there's a little bit of a twist. And you'll get to see that when I get this taken apart. So I'm gonna just skip over that because there's tons of resources online for how to do that. So I'm gonna skip over that and get right to where the issue is. It had broken off, and what happened was he tried to super glue it back on thinking that would work, and I can't fault him for that. He's not really into soldering and stuff like I am, so he just didn't know. So it's a common mistake. I've seen other people online say this happened to them too. So no biggie there, but he put super glue on here, and I can flip the board over. It's not a lot. It's really not a lot. It's just enough of a layer that's kind of there on top of the solder and stuff. So all you need is a Q-tip, some regular 100% acetone nail polish remover, or if you just happen to have a metal tin of acetone from somewhere like Lowe's or Home Depot, that'll work too. So pour that into a dish. I'm using a ceramic dish because acetone is very rough on some plastics and can damage them. So you just put a little bit in there. Don't need a lot. And you just dab it on the Q-tip. Let's see if I can zoom you in a little. You just dab it on. It's not a fast process. It does take a while for the super glue to break down. But you just do this until it's all off. So I'm gonna take the super glue off of both sides, and then I will come back and show you the results. I removed all the super glue now, and you can see that the pads of the button had been ripped off, which seems like it'd be an issue, but it's really not, because we can actually solder to some of these test points on the board, and it'll do exactly the same thing. So I will show you how to do that in a second, but before we go any further, I have to warn you, do not go directly from using acetone to soldering. Acetone is highly flammable. My soldering iron, for example, is set to 750 degrees Fahrenheit. It will light on fire, and you do not want to light your circuit boards on fire. That is not a good idea. Okay, so I have my button. There's my button. These things are really small. I have a button here. He did not send the button that fell out of this with him, but I have a button right here. I got this out of a donor board I had that's having some trouble with the buttons, and as far as I can find, there's no real way to deal with those. So what we need to do is take this part, stick it in here, and resolder it to the boards. Now that I put the button back on, we need to solder to the test points and vias on the top of the board to actually make the connections for the button. So to do that, I went ahead and already put some solder onto the one pad here I need to solder to. The other one is this one right here, and I need to put some on there. I went ahead and did this just to make sure there wasn't any sort of conformal coating over the top that I needed to scrape away or anything, because that can happen sometimes. Let's just put some no clean flux on there, and let's put some solder on there. That's way too much solder, but it'll get whipped away when I also need to pre-tin the contacts on here, so we'll just do that again real quick. Alright, those are nice and tinned, or tinned enough. Now as for the wires I'm using this mod wire that you would see people using for something like an MM3 mod on a PS2, or PS1, wow. See if I can get in camera here. It's very small diameter wire, so I'm just going to solder this direct to one of these pads. Do this with a tripod in the way is kind of hard, but oh well. I don't need it to be perfect, I just need to tack on so I can, or be tacked on enough that I can put some more solder on there and hold it in place. Here we go, that's on. Again, I just kind of globbed it on there. Doesn't need to be perfect right now. Alright, so I got the wires attached. I am going to say they're not going to win any awards for beauty, but they are connected properly. I checked them with a multimeter. There's no bridging, no none of that. The jackets ended up melting off entirely, and what did melt off I pulled off. Needless to say, I need to get much better at soldering with a video camera in the way. But anyway, the button is on now. I am debating whether I should put some glue on there or something to act as a stabilizer. But I think it'll be okay actually, because it's still pressing against the board just the same way it was before. So now this is like this, I'm going to put it back together and let's see if it will work. Okay, now that it's all back together, let's stick it back onto this switch and we'll give it a quick test and see how it works. And instead of using a game, I'm going to actually go into the settings menu and use the built-in button tester. There you are. Alright, so all these still work. This works. I'm not going to hit home because it'll go home. Plus, ZR, and R. So the R button's working now. So if you have a controller where you've had the traces ripped off of the board for the R button, it's still fixable. It just takes a little bit of finicky precision soldering, I guess is what you'd call it. Maybe micro soldering, I don't really know. Just not entry level. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said in other ones, there's plenty of stuff in the works. We'll just have to see what happens when it happens. Because planning is not my strong suit. Alright, thanks for watching. See you next time.